He's an old front rower from Queensland.
Still got the cauliflower ears to show it. No cauliflower ears here, an old winger from New South Wales. Boo!
And he reckons we're an odd couple. Don't know why.
We still are. It's rather odd. We're still mates, I don't know.
And back together here at North's Leagues and Services Club at Kalanga in Brisbane.
Doing what we do best, talking rugby league. Join us
For the Odd Couple.
State of Origin, what a product it is. It builds a lot of intensity between Queensland and New South Wales, and I guess that's why there's so much passion involved. It's like, yeah, well, it is definitely state against state. We've heard about what's happened today.
Mate against mate.
Mate, but still fair go, mate. You know, that's but what's really important, of course, now is we've got to this decider. That's happened quite a few times before, Warren. 44 series since 82, full three-shot series, and what the decider is about half of that or a bit more.
Yeah, well, Queensland has won 16 series deciders.
Yes.
New South Wales has won 6.
Yes.
And 2 were drawn.
Okay.
And interestingly, when it comes to teams that have been down 1-0 in the series, losing the first one, which is Queensland's case this time around,
bang, yep.
then 11 teams have been down 1-0 and then came back to win the series. Queensland 6 times, New South Wales 5, so fairly even split there.
Yeah. And the real challenge is out, of course. New South Wales first, we come second. We have to go back to back. Now it all depends then on what your teams are looking like at the back end. And we've come through. Takes 3 weeks between each game, so there's a lot of footy going on as well. There'll be some injuries, a bit of form. Mate, what do we look at New South Wales first? Am I right in saying they've had 7 changes? Since the, I think it is 7 changes
since the first
second
one.
No,
since the second one.
Yes.
I thought it was 6, but yeah, who's counting?
Yeah. We don't really mind anyway, But
well,
let's have a look at the change as well, mate. Bostock?
Yeah, well, Bostock's in for Toto. Toto's out, and I agree reluctantly with Toto being out because Toto has been very good for New South Wales, year after year. And he's great at bringing the ball out in yardage, out of your own territory. But I think it's just too much of a risk. He's too short under the high ball, and Queensland exploited that in both games, but particularly the second one. I think you had to negate that attack from Queensland. So, but then the question is, do you put Jack Bostock, who's playing centre for the Dolphins,
but he's a winger as well. He played a lot of winger.
Has played wing. I mean, relatively inexperienced. He hasn't even played a lot of NRL games, and I know he's playing very well in the centres, and he's playing in a good team with the Dolphins. So it all pluses for him. But if I was selecting that team, I would have put Tom Trbojevic on the wing because I think he's been back from a couple of games. He can catch a high ball because he's a fullback. He could be a spare centre or fullback if you had an injury during the game. I would have gone for Tommy Turbo. But look, a lot of people are fully on board with Jack Bostock, and I hope he goes well.
Mate, and I take what you say, if you went for Turbo when he was at his best, he was one of the great. You remember that year New South Wales had Latrell Mitchell?
I know.
Didn't
last long.
Well, it didn't. Thank goodness for that. Weren't they? They were absolutely smashing us on either side of the field. Now, Turbo has been restricted, as we know, through the hamstrings.
The risk would be that he got injured again.
Well, I just don't think he's at full flight either again now, mate. I
think he's been looking pretty good for Manly the last couple of weeks.
They're playing him. Is he back in the? He was playing fullback.
Yeah.
There was some talk about they might do what they've done with Latrell, South Sydney, and not that he's been playing too much footy either, in the centres. But
I will say that everyone in New South Wales is critical of people who aren't getting on board with the team and just fully supporting it. So forget what I just said.
Mate, is that true? I was watching, I just stumbled on it, a podcast by 2 New South Wales journos that they will remain nameless. Mate, it was like vultures. Mate, they were ripping in. Now, we know a lot of those New South Walesmen just like to build it all up and attract some attention. But, mate, they were vicious in their attack. Now, admittedly, the theme that I heard was more directed to a certain extent to the coach. But he's made all these changes, but they would have made more, and if he doesn't do this, he's gone, and and other players are gone. And I'm thinking, we Queenslanders, you know this, mate, we wouldn't do that to our team.
No.
We wouldn't go in there and just eat away at the. But it really,
Well-
this morning I heard it, and I thought there's been a lot of change, but they're still not happy. The journos.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I think you're always looking for a new angle, something to talk about.
True,
You know,
true.
but yeah, there's definitely a more general level of understanding in Queensland. You just support Queensland, whatever the decisions
matter
are,
what.
you get behind it.
Yeah.
But it's also true for years, New South Wales has had more choices. So there's always more arguments about, say you've got 3 players who could be the centre or 3 players could be the back rower. Queensland have had less choices,
Yes.
less to argue about,
Zero in.
easier to get behind. But yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it helps. I
No.
don't think it helps.
All right, mate. Look, I agree with you, Bostock.
Can I say, also, if he was, New South Wales have had a few injuries, of course. You mentioned Latrell Mitchell, he would have been first one picked.
Yep.
Casey McLean played very well in the first game, injured since, not available. He would have been on
He
my
was
wing.
even in the squad for the second and he pulled out, didn't he?
He got injured at training, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
So he would have been my pick if he was available
Mate,
too.
all this injury in training, we never got injured at training.
I don't know what's
It's pretty
going
hard
on.
to just to walk. We
I know.
just walked around the field for a warm up and threw the ball around a bit.
Yeah.
But I wonder, that's be another podcast. I'd love to get an Can you actually train too hard and get your body to the limit? These guys are pushing every boundary you can get.
Yeah, I agree, David. I think there's no flexibility. I mean, this is just my thoughts. No any expertise behind it. I just feel that you're being pushed to the limit. Everything's maximised, and there's no flexibility for a bit of give and take when it
Yeah.
comes to it. But anyway, we'll get an expert to talk about that sometime.
And mate, they play these opposed sessions now. Like when we, in my early days of training, back at Brothers in the early 70s, we never opposed anybody. We ran up and down the field like we're the world champions. There were no one there, and you drop down and play the ball. Now, like a opposed session is halfway between tackle and touch.
Yeah.
So-
We're going off at a tangent. How many players have been getting cramps this season? Like,
That's
you
what
got
I
cramp
wonder.
in the first 1 or 2 games of the season, and then everyone's fine.
That's
People
right.
are still going down with cramps
I
2/3
wonder-
of the way through. What's happening?
Yeah, well, we'll get an expert in next time. or maybe we'll just Google it and find out.
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Isn't that the way these days? Just Google it. All the kids think they've got all this knowledge and it's in Google and say, it's what's in your head that's the most important,
Well,
not
maybe
what's
so.
on Google. Okay, so mate, just to comment on Bostock, sure he's not experienced, but gee, I think he's a good player. He's someone that Billy Slater could have, that type of player he would back, So I don't mind that selection.
I don't mind it, but if I was making the choice, that's what I would have done.
No, I understand. We'll maybe come back to Tedesco later because he's.
But do you
really-
agree with them dropping Toto?
Absolutely, and one of the reasons, mate, I think is he's been a bit off anyway.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the first, remember we were talking about the first State of Origin. He dropped about 3 or 4.
3
now.
balls in the first 10 or 15 minutes, yeah.
And normally he doesn't drop any. He's like a magnet. So I'm thinking there's something. As soon as this is happening, there's something wrong. They're
Yeah.
second guessing. So I'm more than.
Well, I was, and going further, I think you've got to negate what Queensland are doing well. And Queensland's back line is red hot at the moment.
yep.
Red hot back line. Running like the players, Munster, Walker, Cobbo, Ponga, Tabuai-Fidow, Fafita, they are all playing the house down.
Mate, it
so
is
you've got. So I think you go in to try and stymie what they're doing well.
Yep.
And he's fit again. You bring in Stephen Crichton back into the centre. So you're asking about 7 changes. Well, Crichton would have been there. He was there for the first one. He wasn't there for the second one because he was injured. He's a great defensive centre. He's also a very good attacking centre, but he is a very good defensive centre. So I think he puts a bit of a clamp on what happens down the right-hand side.
To come to your general point, I agree with it entirely. There's 2 ways you've got to plan to win. One is to play your best. And the second part of the plan, and just as important as what you're saying, stop the other mob playing their best, right? You've got 2 very best teams out there, and you've got to try and get to your best level.
Yep.
But you've got to try and squash theirs down, and guess what? That difference becomes the scoreline in some ways. So I agree. You've got to make sure mate. That is a lethal back line that Queensland won, and I mean we've had some unbelievable back lines over the years, but let's say particularly the outside backs. You know, let's leave the spine player, the halves out of it at this stage. As you were saying, the firepower out wide, the two wingers, the two centres, the fullback, that is electric, you know.
Well, that's why I also think Bradman Best has been brought into the New South Wales team. Now, they've left out Kohler.
He was
he's now
in,
on the bench.
He's
Kohler-
number 19th man.
He may not even get a run.
Probably won't get a run.
And he's electric. I don't think he's let himself down. He's been playing okay for New South Wales without a lot of chances. But I think Bradman Best is there. He's only just come back from injury the last couple of weeks for Newcastle. But he's strong, he's biggish. He's a pretty good attacker, but he's also got the body to be a good defender. So I think that's what they're trying to do, plug the defence in the centres on the left as well.
Yep.
So just again, because Queensland come at you both sides, both sides.
Well, exactly.
And
It's
particularly with
the old
Ponga.
pistols, isn't it? You know, bang.
So I agree. I'm disappointed to see Kohler out because I think he could be a match winner, but I can see what they're doing, and I can see the method.
Yeah.
Maybe you've got to agree with it.
I value what you're judging there. I must admit, though, on face value or looking at face value, I was surprised they picked either of them. I know what you're saying. The strategy is they've got to make sure they shut down Queensland, but you got to do two things, as we say. You've got to have firepower of your own, and I'm not so sure like that everything's got to happen together. I must admit, not that I sat down and thought, who should New South Wales pick? But when I see it, I'm thinking, gee, that surprises me. I don't think Billy Slater would have picked.
Well, first of all, the player who's been dropped is Katoni Staggs. Now, I think Staggs is like a lot of the New South Wales players. I don't think they've been playing badly, but I think they've been playing reasonably well, done some good things in a game, but one or two things they would much rather have over. And I think Katoni Staggs is in that. But now, you've put Crichton instead of Staggs on the right centre, and on the left-hand side, as I said, they've dropped Kohler and put Bradman Best there. Now, if you're saying you wouldn't have had Crichton or Best, who would you have?
Don't care.
Well, see, but this is the thing. All of the superhero critics in rugby league, they'll tell you who they would drop, but they won't tell you who they'd put in.
Yeah, but mate, there's a reason the Queenslanders
Or vice
don't want to
versa.
help. We don't want to help New South Wales, mate. It doesn't mean to
well,
say we haven't got an opinion.
I was just interested
And
because
actually-
I'd be interested in who you had up your sleeve.
Well, mate,
who are you going to put in?
I'm that disinterested. I've never even thought about it, right?
And that's why I'm wearing this. I can talk to this side and to that side.
We might. Yeah. I'll put my hands up and say that I am totally balanced to one side. The bias is not relevant. I am. I'm biased to Queensland, but no, actually, I'm somewhat serious about that one. I must admit, I didn't try and pick the New South Wales side in advance, and when I saw it, I thought, oh, I never thought that. And you are totally. I didn't even think, well, are they the best ones? Because I haven't thought it. Like Staggs, he's an effort player. He's not a hammer.
No.
You know.
Staggs is full frontal assault, whether
Yeah.
it's defence or attack.
Yeah.
He's not, doesn't have the subtleties in
No,
his
exactly.
game. Now, the hammer's just got pace that nobody else has. So
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
almost incomparable.
Yeah.
But I think Katoni Staggs is just a little inflexible. I think he nearly always tries to attack on the outside of his opponent. He doesn't have the quick sidestep to challenge the inside as much. His tackling style is full frontal, coming at you hard, which gives him no room to adjust to a late movement. I think he's a great player. I love his aggression. But
That's right. He's a
there's
big
limits
effort
to
player.
his
Yeah,
game. And
yeah.
whereas some players like the Hammer, just can do anything because he can catch you if he's chasing you,
he just
and he can
glides.
beat you if he's going forward.
You put him in a space you don't see him again, do you?
No.
Just go,
No.
Let me just, and I'm not trying to be difficult on this, but who else could they have picked? Now, before the State of Origin started, they were saying, God, if Latrell's fit and Turbo's fit, we'll go back with the double. They've been saying that ever since whatever year that was when they. So
And it never happens.
never. But so, is there any other who am I missing here?
No.
Of terms of New South Wales centres.
Well, no one quickly comes to
Well,
mind.
that's probably
No
a
one quickly
reason then
comes
to
to
say,
mind.
yeah.
I just thought too, I keep throwing right across the board all those Queensland backs who are playing really well. One I haven't mentioned is Robert Toya. He's doing nothing wrong either. He's great. He's chasing bombs. He's a threat. He's good on his feet. He's defending very well. You know, there's not a hole in that back line.
Well, you're again spot on. I haven't taken much notice of him on every game he played, but when I looked at the State of Origin game last week, bloody hell, he had a good game.
He had a good game.
I love players, and I did a bit of coaching as well along my way, and there's a lot of players look good in front of the line, you know, setting it. Look, everything looks sharp, but they don't come out the bloody other side.
Right.
And they're the good ones.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You can step around and say, oh, geez, this bloke's got a side step, and somebody just pulls him down. So I used to say to a couple of the players that I coached, mate, you're looking good, but just come out the other side a few times, you know what I mean? Now, Toya, not that he was in that category at all, don't get me wrong, but what I saw was the positive. I watched him a bit in the second one. Bloody hell, like he wasn't in the glamour ball, you know, quite up there with the glamour because he didn't score the tries. But I tell you what, every time he got the ball, he ended up going forward. And a lot of the things these days is you've got to win the collision.
Yeah.
It's a collision sport. If you win the impact, you're going to get a little bit further. The whole thing rolls on. So, mate, I agree with you. He's, you know,
More than holding his spot.
Kohler and Toya, to me. Well, there's one. I would have kept Kohler in. What was he in? Yeah, he was in the centres, wasn't he?
Well,
There's
yeah,
one bloke I
well,
would have put up there.
he's been replaced by Bradman Best, and I reckon that's a 50-50. Yeah,
Mate,
I would be more than happy if Kohler stayed in that position. Yeah.
My fundamental comment around Bradman Best is I've seen him play a couple of spectacular games, but there's a lot of games.
He scored a try 2 years ago in a winning New South Wales performance.
Yeah, so he has got the sensational in him, but there's a lot of times I watch him and you know he's not. And the other one is
unfortunately Kohler hasn't set the Origin series on fire. For Manly, he's put in some brilliant moments, and he's played. I think he's played quite solidly in the Origin series.
He's
Very
super
quick. He's almost hammer-like. You know, he's really exceptional acceleration.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, you're almost talking me into it.
Well, mate, I'm happy him being in 19 anyway, mate. I'm more than happy with that. What number you got? Oh, the number 5. That's right. Yeah. All right.
So we keep going in that, looking at those New South Wales changes.
Yeah.
Liam Martin in the second row.
I think he didn't play in the first two at all, did he?
He's been injured. He's been injured. He's only back last 2 weeks.
The only reason he wasn't in was he was injured, was he?
Yeah.
He hasn't been running the house since he's been back. I saw a game, the Penrith game the other night, when who beat Penrith of our blokes? Was that the Cowboys or the Dolphins?
The Cowboys. Cowboys.
What a game that was!
Beat them, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't think Martin played. So Cowboys beat Penrith.
Beat Penrith, sorry.
Yeah, and Dolphins beat the Warriors. That was the first and second teams both lost.
Yeah.
Well, mate, my take. Martin didn't, like Penrith didn't look like Penrith that night, but I didn't think Martin went all that well. No, so
I agree.
They're picking players out of form. I'd be worried if I were them.
I totally agree with you. When we get to the end, we'll sum it up. But yeah, Liam Martin, he's come in to replace Dylan Lucas, who had replaced Olakau'atu from the first game. Well, Lucas wasn't noticeable in the second game. He actually made about 38 tackles and hit it up 8 times, but he didn't really stand out.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to go somewhere. I think I would have put Olakau'atu in the starting lineup, but hopefully he'll make an impact off the bench.
Did you see him play the game against the Storm the other night? He scored 2 tries
for short range
through the middle of the ruck. Now, I wonder there with I've never seen Melbourne concede 2 uncontested tries from close to their line, so I don't know what they were doing. But he was, like, he didn't even have to break a tackle. I cannot believe he's not in. Again, we spoke about Furphy's last time. If I was Laurie Dale, and I don't want to give him any advice, and even if I did, he wouldn't know me, so he wouldn't take it. But But you want explosive players.
Yeah. Well,
this bloke is.
I mean, I thought
Keep him on
Alaquata
the
was a good selection for the first game. I was surprised he got dropped out of the squad for the
Very
second one.
controversial. Yeah.
And then this time around, I think it's 50-50, but I would have had him in the starting lineup,
Absolutely.
not off the bench. The fact he scored those 2 tries last weekend seemed to everyone got very excited. But I thought really it was just very smart play by him and the dummy half. I watched the rest of his game, which was still strong, still good, but he's not really a classic fast edge runner. He's a power fast runner. He'll be an absolute handful for Munster and whoever's got to tackle him, and he could cause a lot of damage whether he starts or he comes off the line. But I'm with you. Liam Martin, his form has not been great, so he's an out-of-form player. We know he's very aggressive and he's played very well in the past, and maybe it just takes a couple of games and he'll fire up.
Get back,
but it's not an automatic selection for me. Radley's been bumped out of the top 19 down to number 20 as we look at the squad right now. And
he was. Is he on report? He was on report from New South Wales. They had 2 players on report. I think Radley was one.
Radley was one. Well, Radley's always, treading a fine line on those high tackles. And the other change they've made is they brought Brayley back in after he was injured in the first Origin. Oh, he was injured. He played the first Origin game, then was injured. Coruscant was on the bench for Origin 2 and didn't get used.
But how does that work? You pick a hooker. Now, does that mean Brayley might not get a run? I mean, that means you don't like running two hookers.
Well, I think things just got, well, in the end, Robson played 80 minutes at hooker in the second game.
They needed spark.
They needed spark.
Yeah.
And I think everyone thought Coruscant should have got on the field in that second Origin game, but he didn't. Brayley has speed. He's really quick. If you get a few 6 agains out of dummy half, Brayley is very fast and will get the defence on the back foot. Coruscant has more tricks and deception and around the ruck, and I think that is something New South Wales really needed.
Absolutely. You want a spark, don't you?
And you look at Harry Grant plays a different game out of dummy half. He's just very cleverly reactive. But with Coruscant has, he's got deception. He comes up with plays you're not
he's a tricky. He's deceptive.
But Brayley was in the first Origin game. He's a good player off the bench to have coming on. But they need to get him on the field.
Well, that's right. Don't leave him cooling his heels.
Yeah.
Mate, let me just check something before we go much further. I know New South Wales and Queensland are really different in a lot of ways, right? I'm just wary of my comments getting back to Sydney, right?
So you don't want anyone to listen to this podcast?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do they have podcast and Spotify down there?
I think so. But you do know how podcasts work, do you?
No. That's why we got Anthony, mate. That's why we got Anthony. He's the tech giant.
If we're talking to each other and we're being filmed, and someone else hopefully is going to watch this.
Oh, no.
You thought we were just talking to each other again.
Well, hang on. Call it off. No. All good
so
fun.
they're the changes. And the way I sum them up, well, Crichton's coming back from injury, Brayley's coming back from injury. They were both in the first one. I'm not sure if I agree with everything.
No, just comment on Crichton. For a long time, and the Sydney press drove me crazy with this guy is the best centre in the world. And I've never thought, what's his name? The Dolphins centre.
Which
one? The Pommy.
Herbie Farnworth.
Herbie, mate, he is the best centre in the world. He is absolutely unbelievable. We might get to talk a little bit about the Dolphins. So I've always had a thing about Crichton because he gets talked up by the Sydney press as the best centre in the world. I think he's one of these players. He's not he often doesn't. He looks very threatening, but he doesn't often or doesn't always come out the other side, whereas Herbie does. So I've got a bit of a thing in my head that because everyone had him up on a pedestal, I think he's been playing 5'8", and he just recently, and he's probably been quite effective. So I don't know. Those two do not, as a Queenslander, I might be proved wrong. They'll knuckle down and they'll have a go and all, but on paper they don't threaten create the
well,
threat. That,
well, I mainly see the worth, as I said, of Crichton defensively for this game.
Okay.
I think he is a good attacker. I mean, he's an above average. He's in a class above
Yeah, he
the
can.
average footballer.
He can get through.
Whether
He's
he's
the
the best,
strength, yeah.
best, I wouldn't quite go that
yeah,
far.
yeah,
But,
yeah. All right.
But just what I see there, you've got players who were below their best in State of Origin 2 for New South Wales, as in To'o, Staggs, Moses, Cleary. I don't even think Yo's producing this as much.
So right.
Hudson Young had a pretty good game, but missed a couple of tackles that mattered. And Dylan Lucas probably was thrown into a game that he really wasn't ready for on the wrong side of the field, and no one was giving him the ball in attacking position. So you had all of those players below their best in Origin 2. Now these players have played NRL since then and been unimpressive. Moses played poorly for Parramatta the other week. Liam Martin, nothing special for Penrith the other day in a losing team. And Cleary has been off. I think Cleary was shocked by what happened in Origin 2.
No doubt.
And I think he's a bit off at the moment now.
Well, Penrith got beaten. That was one of the reasons. Again, he wasn't doing much when the Cowboys got him.
And another guy who I don't think has been a standout by any means, short of that, for New South Wales, has been Barnett. But Barnett did have a good game last week for Newcastle.
Okay.
So I hope that he is kind of
that's
coming
good.
good, ready to produce his best.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of players there who aren't really in tip-top form, whereas we've said half a dozen Queenslanders who are red hot.
Mate, this is unbelievable because New South Wales, they often tell us they've got about 10 times more players than Queensland have to pick from. So
Yep.
we've got this little patch of brilliant players. You've got this huge, not you, mate, because I know you're more this way. But you know, the surprising thing is that is the backs. I'm not saying we'll win it for sure, but they got a Queensland. If you just looked at it at the highest level, and we'll come to detail shortly. But they got a hard-working forward pack and an absolutely dangerous backline. I look at the New South Wales one. I reckon you had to go toe-to-toe with that. You pick defensive centres. I know what you're saying, we've got to pull them all back. But anyway, it always was that New South Wales had the big advantage because they had more players to pick from, but they seem to now, based on exactly the descriptions you're making, that even though there's a huge pool of players, for some reason, on paper,
Well,
and we don't win on paper, and they can get out there.
It's hard to
and win it.
disagree,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, Latrell Mitchell is a very, very good centre and hasn't been available for a couple of years.
He's got swagger.
And Trbojevic at his best, Tom, is also top class. He's elusive and smart as well. So yeah, unfortunately, those two have been injury plagued for the last couple of years. But
Mate, what do you think of that theory that says because Penrith are so regimented, and they are the most regimented team I've ever seen, everything, 5 block players play, Cleary runs across, bang. One of the reasons they are very hard to beat is it's just like a regiment of soldiers, right? The bang, bang, bang. Once you take them out of the, and I'm not revealing this for the first time because it might have been last year or the year before, when they tried to stack the team with Penrith players, like 6 or 7 of them.
yeah.
And it didn't work because it ain't Penrith. And there is a bit of a theory that the likes of Yo, who does an outstanding job for Penrith, this ain't Penrith. This is a group of very good representative players. And whilst they're so locked in on the regimented way Penrith play, so we spoke about the set play that Queensland put on. It was the coach, and they tell me it was his move, said this is what we're going to do, and they trained for it during the week. But this situation is more, there's a lot of, normally what happens with Rep 40 is you pick the best players and you say, okay, get out there and give it your best shot. And you won't have the best teamwork, but they're so bloody good, they know what to do. There is this theory that Penrith players are sort of, I use the word sometimes robot. We're building a lot of robots these days.
Look, I think I think they're just. I think Penrith have been better at it. Everybody else is trying to have the structure, to have that regimentation, and do it really well at a high level. Penrith do it better than everybody else has got a lot of structure and a lot of regiment too.
Yeah, but not quite to that level. Mate, I actually hope everybody doesn't end up like Penrith. Every game would be like watching two bulls in a paddock.
Sure, but the classic is what's happened with Manly this season, where after a couple of 2 or 3 games, was it under Anthony Seibold, in comes Foran, and from the outside looking in, and I'm not at their training sessions, it looks like he just took the reins off and said, have a bit of fun, or move the ball around, play with a bit more freedom, and suddenly they're world beaters.
Yeah.
And mentally, players react. Players who have felt restricted suddenly are enjoying their football again.
They're playing the way they want to play.
You can be too regimented, there's no doubt about that. But I mean, I think Yeo has played well for New South Wales and Australia. I think not particularly well in this series.
Of course, the role of the 13, I don't want to go too far back, but I mean, the lock forward back in our era he was the free running extra man. He was like a second fullback. He could bob in anywhere. He didn't defend in the front line. He defended behind the line. Raper was famous for coming across and cutting down wingers. Well, mate, funny you should say that. I went down to a special training run. I was invited down along with the brothers' coach, and we went and watched the Roosters train. Jack Gibson's the coach.
We're going back here. I thought this was last week.
No, mate. This is going well back. So you've got Gibson, the coach, and they just bought everybody. They bought Fulton. They bought Coote. This is the Roosters, as they always do. They got the sombrero. Yeah. They just kept buying, and it was a star-studded.
I love to plunder Souths.
Yeah,
and Manly,
and they over and over they've done it. But it just gets me that on the line of where lock fours used to play, the story, and I've heard it told many a time, is that when Ron Coote comes across from South Sydney and Jack Gibson's there coaching, and Ron walks up to him and says, I play cover defending lock. You know what Jack says?
Not anymore. Or what?
Well, not quite in those words. He said, well, let me introduce you to the reserve grade coach.
I haven't heard that story.
Yeah, and guess where he defended from that point on? He didn't go to reserve grade.
In the front line.
He changed his line. So this is just an example of what's happening there. The other thing that the 13s play, the middle forwards, is they're often first receiver because it pushes the whole back line out. They're all playing left and right, so you haven't got winger, 2 centres, left and right all the time. So as soon as you put an extra man in to take the ball to dummy half, he gives it to the halfback who's got the second row. So their role has changed dramatically, and Isaiah Rowe, is more the modern guy. He's got the mixed game, he does a bit of work and
well, that's why, as well as Yeo, Cameron Murray, of course, is very important for New South Wales in that sort of a role. And there's been a push for him to start the game, which he might well do. And I would say start instead of Yeo, but other people are suggesting. I'm not sure who should.
Well, again on that, mate, I hope Murray doesn't start. From a Queensland point of view, I reckon Murray would be
he's a wholehearted player too.
Threat, yeah.
And Max Plath, he can also play that role of a
terrific,
a lock forward who's doing a lot more than hitting it up, also getting involved in the play one off the ruck.
He's got good genes, hasn't he?
He has,
what did he play in 4 grand finals or something, and he was the Mr. Fix-It. So there's a bit of similarity between he and his dad. He's a bit bigger, but mate, we just touched on Payne Haas in the review of the second game. I thought he was going to be the shining light once he came back in, and the Broncos are getting a touch up. I don't know whether he's got gas in the tank or whether he's got an injury or.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and has a big game. I think he's just probably a big man. Need a couple of games under his belt to reach his peak again. I thought he played okay the other day again. I think both forward packs have pretty much matched each other.
Yes,
they've all played quite well without being outstanding. They've done their job in attack and defence. I think Payne Haas, certainly wouldn't drop him.
Well, no, but I'm just worried or concerned that he just, whether he's got an injury, because he's famous for his motor.
Yeah.
You know, he could play 80 minutes. What front rowers can play 80 minutes? But I just think there might be a little bit of gas there. That anyway,
I'll ring him and tell him you said that. And I look forward to a big performance.
don't do that.
What about the Queensland
No,
selections?
mate, can I just stay with New South Wales for a moment? I'm enjoying this. Mate, they've gone with Mitchell Moses again.
Yeah, well,
Would you have gone with him?
I thought, I think when we were talking before the second Origin game, I said that I would go with Moses. And then he started, he wasn't able to train for the first few sessions. There was this bit of a doubt as to whether he was going to aim up or not be available.
Came in as a last
and
minute.
at that point I thought, well, no, you've got to put Strange in and put Moses back on the bench or out of the team. And Moses in Origin 2, he kicked well, he kicked long, that's certainly his job. Right now, I
believe Strange might be under a bit of a cloud.
Yes,
But if he was fit, what would you do? He had a great
Well, I tell you what, it's a toss-up, but I would go with Strange. Strange was good. I'll give you my other reason. I wonder whether, when Moses is on the field, Cleary gets confused.
I agree.
I wonder whether Cleary's so used to taking over, being the total man in charge, doing all of the kicking, calling all of the shots. I wonder whether
They're almost
he
a
just
replica.
can't fire
Yep.
in the same way because, well, are you doing this or am I doing this? Who's doing what? Now, no doubt they have worked out how they're sharing the kicking and what they're doing. But I just wonder whether it's better result to put Strange in. There's a runner.
I agree. I'll give you a comparison. The New South Wales halves, Moses and Cleary, are very, very similar in their own ways. Right?
Yeah,
But Sam Walker and Cam Muster are totally different.
absolutely.
And that's what you want. Right?
Yeah, you don't want
blokes,
duplicates.
and that's why, as you're saying, this bloke, they're bumping into each other because they're trying to do the same thing. Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So I hope this doesn't go to New South Wales. You know, they might re-choose the side.
You might be coaching New South Wales next year.
I don't think, because everything I'm saying here is actually not true anyway. You know, I don't really believe it. I'm just trying to throw out these. But mate,
No, I think you make a good point. Certainly a big question.
can I get your opinion on Tedesco as the last call in the New South Wales side? And the reason I'm asking you is, mate, when I heard this New South Wales podcast this morning, they were adamant that the guy from Penrith should be there. And they're saying, well, if Tedesco doesn't do this, that'll be his last game he'll ever play for, and it'll be the last time he ever plays for Australia. Mate, I think Tedesco is a far better player than... I agreed when they picked Tedesco in the first one, and then obviously catches that ball to get the scoreboard and win it. He's in career best form, and yet the media down there were feeding on this issue of Daly's made a lot of changes, whatever it was, 6 or 7, but you know what? He should have made more. And this was one of them. And I'm thinking, there's so much going on. You know,
That's the biggest problem. Like, you would prefer not to make changes, would you? Be building on the combinations you might have developed in the first two
and the
games.
relationships, you know, it just goes, you got 3 series, you meet up every second week or whatever it is, 2 weeks apart, 3 weeks apart. You all get together. Now, if you get a new lot of blokes in,
Exactly. You've got to start all over again.
Yeah.
I totally agree that Edwards is a very good player, but I've supported the suggestion of Tedesco for the first game.
Yeah.
And I think he's been playing well. I mean, he got man of the match, didn't he, in the first game? If he wasn't, he was close to it.
And he's form with the Roosters. I mean, he's so hard to get
And he's on the ball so much. Like, he is everywhere the ball is, around the ruck. Now, he's not a Ponga swinging in out wide as much.
But he's big around the
and
hips,
he's been
isn't he?
very good under the bomb. So, you know, that's... No, I can't work out why they'd be throwing that spanner in the works at this point.
So they were pushing for Dylan Edwards, mate. They were saying that these are the controversial Sydney media, and they were just feeding out on this. And, you know, I know Laurie Daly's struggled a bit. I got again a bit. They tell me he's one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet. I got a bit of a theory about coaches. You've got to be a good bloke. You can't be a nasty narc, right? But you can't be too nice either. Too nice is down the scale where it just... Now, who's the coach for the Lions? I mean, he's
Fagan.
He's a really
Chris
nice
Fagan.
guy, so he blows that theory off totally. He's obviously a bloody good coach.
But I think there's a strong Steely underneath to someone like Chris Fagan.
He must have the right blend.
Yeah, I mean, there's a face you put to the media and the public, and there's a face that the players see on Tuesday at the first training session or whenever it is after you've had a loss. You know, I think,
I know.
I think there's steel in Laurie Daly. Look, I'm not saying results will tell the tale whether he can get this team up, but right now the New South Wales team probably isn't as good as the Queensland team.
Just true, which is oftentimes it's very seldom we've gone his favourites, but we probably do this time around. Just on the New South Wales coach, I'm going to guess what might happen next year.
I can't even be bothered thinking about it, David.
Billy Slater to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Craig Bellamy.
If Billy Slater wants to.
Well, he's not. He's decided he will not re-sign with Queensland at this point.
Yeah.
And he said, I've just done a handshake. In other words, he's left his options open. He's loving what he's doing.
Yeah.
My prediction, just a guess, not even a prediction, it's a guess. Slater has proven he can coach. Now he's got everything on, he's got his horses, and there's a whole lot of stuff he's got going, and it's a big, but I reckon he could command close to top dollar to go to Melbourne. Craig has got some health issues, wants to pull back, I would think. He stays as, this is me just fishing out in the pond. He stays as coaching director or whatever you like, and he coaches New South Wales next year.
Who?
Craig Bellamy.
Craig Bellamy coaches New South Wales next year.
That's the cards.
When's Ivan Cleary available? Isn't he available? Is it next year to coach New South Wales, or is it the year after?
Mate, I would have Craig.
It might be the year after. Yeah, I think it's the year after.
I wouldn't have.
Well, Craig Bellamy's already had one go, of course, coaching New South Wales.
This would be different.
Maybe.
You know what? You know his biggest problem was he was coaching against Cameron Smith, Greg Inglis, Billy Slater, right?
And Cooper Cronk.
Yeah. So,
and Jonathan Thurston probably.
So that was the.
Yeah.
But so, mate, I just think if you try and look between what's going on, I would not be surprised. And I might be totally wrong. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, there's been speculation along those lines that Slater could have the Melbourne job if he wants it.
And I think based on this year, it's even stronger.
All of the above. I totally, But the different, as Josh Hannay said, who has been a Queensland assistant coach, Billy Slater's living the life of dreams at the moment. Short coaching stint, relatively short with Queensland, pours himself into it and walks away. It's a totally different commitment to be an NRL coach.
What if they offered him 1.2 million?
Yeah, well, you'd think about it. Because he wouldn't automatically take it.
Mate, but no, you wouldn't. But his stakes have gone up.
He's already got, as you said, he's working for Channel 9, probably enjoying that. He's dabbling in horse racing, enjoying that. He's coaching Queensland when they're winning, enjoying that. I mean, he might like that. He'll coach an NRL team as soon as he wants the challenge, and when it's right for him and his family.
I'm predicting that'll be next year.
Yeah, you might be right.
It reminds me, mate, of an old boss I had, right? And anyone who came into his office and they said, look, and this guy was one of the executive managers. He was also the highest ranking uncommissioned officer in Australia. When he wasn't working, the big army limo came out and he drove him to the next thing. Anyway, people come in and say, I've got all this on, I've got to do this, and you've given me this, and he'd sit there and he'd say, sleep less.
Yeah.
So Billy just has to sleep less, or you get other people to do stuff to look after his.
But everyone knows that it's totally different coaching state of origin or Australia compared to coaching an NRL club.
And he'd do it on his ear, and I hope.
I'm not talking about ability. I'm talking about commitment. commitment every day, 7 days a week, just about 24 hours a day, because there's always something else you can think about, think you can do. Now you've got to be a man manager as well as a strategizer.
Yep.
All
Lot
of
of
that.
man
Turn
management.
turn up to training every time. You've got assistant coaches. You've got to tell them what to do as well. It's a big job, and it's a non-stop job. You've got to be committed, and you get well paid to do it.
Yeah.
But everyone also knows if you're coaching a rep team, and you've done it to an extent,
Tertiary college.
you get the best players, put them together, you give them a bit of guidance, you develop their spirit, make sure they're all togetherness and spirited, and half the time they work it out themselves because they're all the best players.
Exactly right.
And they're usually pretty smart players.
You get the bond, and then
So
away
it's a totally different job, you know.
Well, mate, I hope I'm wrong, because I would be worried as a Queenslander if Bellamy coached this side. So I hope I'm wrong. He would be a major threat, especially if in the deal we've lost Billy.
Yeah.
If that went that way, that would not be good for Queensland, and it would. In my
Well,
opinion,
you've got to remember, Michael Maguire is a totally different personality again. He won the series 2 years ago. Totally different personality to, and won. Well, maybe he's not a different personality in some ways to Craig Bellamy.
Oh, he's massively different to Bellamy.
Yeah, but
Massively.
different to.
See, Craig can blow up, but they still love him.
Different to Fittler. Different to Daly.
Anyway, I hope I'm wrong. But mate, also you talk about rep sides and getting them together. I do remember I was coaching Queensland tertiary side this many years ago, and we played in Sydney against the Queensland universities and New South Wales universities. They had that Johnny McMartin, the ex-hooker, for Australia. He was in the university side. We had just a group of young blokes, and they had a number of ex-Sydney players in there as well. And we go down to Sydney. I said, all right, you blokes, no one's going out on the drink tonight. We'll have a couple of drinks and sit around here. I went to bed early. I don't know what they did, but we got up about 6 o'clock in the morning. There's a rep side. We'd hardly ever trained together before. I said, all right, let's go and have a training run. It's the worst training run I've ever experienced in my life. I thought, no, we're gone. They couldn't catch the ball. They couldn't do anything. Anyway, we shuffled a few things around to right the ship. And a long story short, we went out there and beat this bloody mob. So how many times do you see?
A couple of days later, I presume.
No. That was like we trained on the Saturday morning. We played them in the Saturday afternoon.
Oh, gee.
And they were full of all these guns. Anyway, but mate, all you could do is just get it to. They couldn't catch the ball because either it was freezing cold, or I did get them up early that time, or maybe they didn't like the temperature. Might have been a bit of nerves going. Maybe they were out on the drink the night before. I'm not even sure. But all I'm saying is, how many times have you done that? Where you go and watch a training run, or you're out of training, and you can train shocking and play good, and sometimes you can train fantastically and don't play good.
Yeah.
So not always does that the link between.
Also, this leads me to something else just before we leave the New South Wales team. You also react to what happened before.
Yes.
So your team had a bad training session. They wake themselves up, and that afternoon they put it together.
Yep.
When you lose a game, the next week you're going to play a lot better. Everyone's going to dig in.
They will
and
be
look
so
for
switched on. Yep.
And if there's one team out of these two who's got a point to prove in the Origin decide, it has to be New South Wales.
Yeah, I agree,
so
100%.
They will be looking to get revenge, to regain respect, after losing, to bounce back. They just all of those things, and they learn lessons from their mistakes. So all of those things leads to the team that's most motivated going onto the field, and it's almost unavoidable. Everyone knows that this is a factor. Complacency. If you win is a risk, and going hard for revenge if you lose is a risk in the next game.
Yep.
And New South Wales have got that one thing really stuck in their belly right now. If they're not motivated to give it everything, well, there's something wrong.
So, mate, just from a Queensland perspective, does that mean if and when Queensland beat them on Wednesday, they'll feel even worse because they've lifted themselves up
They will.
so much? It'll be devastating.
It will be devastating. You're right, and it always, it is.
Geez, it's hard to be humble as a Queenslander.
Well, you can imagine how hard Billy Slater is working this week to make sure the Queensland are 100% fired up and ready to go on what it
That's
means.
right, because
you
if
know?
they're off just a little bit.
Yeah, that's all it takes
You
is
know,
just that
you got
little
Yeah.
percentage.
Now, we've got time
And
to talk about Queensland?
Just one thing.
Yep.
This is a reason why, in the history of State of Origin, there has only been a very few series which have been a whitewash, 3-0. 7 times in 44 series, there's been a whitewash.
Wow.
In other words, it's always been decided. Now, if it goes to 3 games, it means that someone had to bounce back from losing. You know, it happens all the time.
bounce
you bounce
back factor.
from losing.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
in the last 2 years, the other factor, of course, that's a big factor in Queensland's favour here is that it's at Suncorp Stadium, the historic Lang Park, the Cauldron. It's a big factor in favour of Queensland, except in 2024, Queensland were beaten at Suncorp in State of Origin 3 by New South Wales. New South Wales won the series 14-4 under Maguire 2 years ago at Suncorp.
What was that a? Did they come back from 2? Who won the first game in that one? Do you
Well,
recall?
it's irrelevant. I don't.
New South Wales come
Well,
back
no,
with a double
you're
win?
getting back to who if you lose number one. All I'm talking about is winning away from home.
Yeah.
You would think that it's a given that New South Wales win in Sydney, Queensland win,
Mm.
but they didn't. In 2024, New South Wales won 14-4 at Suncorp. Last year, Queensland won the series, coming back from losing the first one, 24-12 at a core stadium, the Olympic Stadium. Queensland won in Sydney last year to win the series. So you would come to this year at Suncorp. Is it a given that Queensland are going to win at home? Why would you say it is?
Well, no, I don't actually say it is because everything gets balanced out. So we play a home and away, and we play in between, Melbourne or whatever. So there's home and away game. But mate, every time Queensland has played, I think, and I'm guessing a little bit on in the last 25 years, it's been a New South Wales referee. Mate, how is that fair? How is that fair?
Well,
Mate,
hang on.
and the same bloke again, Ashley
I
Pine.
think, did you say before, in all the deciders, Queensland has won 16 series deciders, New South Wales has won 6 series deciders with 2 draws.
We're just
Gee, that
better.
referee gave you a good go in all of those 16 deciders, didn't he?
Mate, it's the rough end of the pineapple when we get it. That's what gets me. Mate, just imagine in New South Wales with those New South Wales media. And this is our job, mate. This is my job anyway.
I'm
Mate,
sticking up for the referee's
I know.
impartiality, and we sort of talked about this last time. I do agree. Well, there's all this debate going on in AFL at the moment about whether the crowd influences a referee, and the AFL are going to crack down on anyone who dares suggest that the crowd, a home crowd, influences a referee. It's a secret, David. They do.
Of course they do. Of course they do. The referee's human. But mate, let me flip
It's
it
the reality
around.
of the world.
Let me flip it around, and not asking you what you would think would happen. But let me give a scenario. Let's say in the last 25 years, the referee has been from Queensland. No New South Wales, no Sydney referees for the home. What would that podcast in Sydney have done this morning that absolutely savaged the coach? Would they be quite comfortable that a Queensland referee had done 25? Now, I'm not trying to get... It's not the
Absolutely.
integrity
No, they
of-
wouldn't
I'm
be.
just talking about the credit. I'm not talking about the integrity here, right? These guys do a bloody good job, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not talking... But I'm just saying, what would the media be saying?
Well, they'd
Mate, there'd be a bonfire.
well, there has been in the past. You know, I mean, there
Don't-
was the
don't
Grasshopper,
mention-
there was
don't mention the
Eddie
grass,
Ward.
mate, don't go.
Well, hang on. I mean, they were Queensland referees. They had it,
But
you know.
we didn't have a run
But
of 25
the
years.
The Queensland media would be savaging the referee.
Mate, you know what? The first state
They,
of
they
origin-
savage their own team. They'd savage the
I
referee.
tell you, this is a good point. It just dawned on me. The first state of origin, 1980. I went that night. It was amazing. And the second one when we beat them again and all that. But you know who refereed the first one? Was it a Queenslander or was it a New South Welshman?
No idea.
Came from England. They imported
All
an
right.
impartial referee.
Right, and I bet he did a bad job.
He did, but he wasn't biased. All right, mate, can we quickly then have a look? Although I'd like to take a long time with Queensland too, mate.
Just one more stat.
If you want to leave and I'll just
No,
talk.
no. Just one more stat.
Yep.
I don't think we've mentioned, and you were the one who asked me before, how many teams have lost the first State of Origin game
Yes.
and then won the series? 11 times. 11 teams have been down 1-0,
And they won the
came back
next
to
two.
win the series. Queensland did it 6 times, New South Wales did it 5 times.
So that's 11 out of the 44. So 1/4 of the games have gone down to
Come from
after
behind.
losing the first, you won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Which is what Queensland did last year too, didn't they? They lose the first, I think they did. And
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's precedent for this, and a strong precedent.
Yep.
It creates that great expectation, doesn't it? You can feel the atmosphere, leading up to the game with everybody, and then the day after, it's there's a lot of emotion tied up, and it's because the product's good. And let's face it, somebody said to me the other day, fundamentally, Queensland and New South Wales don't really like each other. It's not just about rugby league, this becomes a focal point of, I don't know, the Sydney-centric.
New South Wales doesn't like Victoria and vice versa as well. You know, but there's definitely
Who does like New South Wales?
There's definitely a bit of a chip on the shoulder type attitude between Queensland and New South
Well,
Wales.
mate, we were just a country town, before we had the. What do we have? The Commonwealth
through
Games.
the history again.
Commonwealth Games. All right, let's have a quick run through. Ponga been a fantastic selection, hasn't he? And the way he played the other day, he's a big threat to New South Wales.
Well, there's only, this goes without saying, look, there's only 2 changes really in the Queensland team. Lindsay Collins is out because suffered concussion in the NRL, so she's out. They brought back Pat Carrigan, which after about 4 weeks out, I think, that's, I think that's a little bit risky. What's wrong with Carrigan? I do know, syndesmosis, high ankle.
Okay.
So he can't have been doing a lot of running.
That's an ankle sprain, isn't it?
I believe so. I don't know.
Well, it might be the ligament.
Could be a strain in your ear for all I know. But
It's a
Pat
ligament.
Carrigan, I think it's a pretty big ask to come back. I know, they're saying how professional he is, but nevertheless.
You've got to be able to go 100% in that position.
And you can't expect him to put in more than a burst off the bench. So they wouldn't want to lose an injury early in the game.
No.
We know that Carrigan's a very good player, but Lindsay Collins has been in good form too. So I think that is a question. Then Fina Fuiaki. See, this is the Queensland. Queensland getting behind the team that's picked. Not has anyone even raised the question of is Fina Fuiaki unlucky? It hasn't even been asked.
Well, mate,
He's out of the squad.
it's a good point, because when I got the team sheet out this morning, I only had just fully realised that Fina Fuiaki had. He got a run, didn't he, in the second one? And he's a good
only
young
8
kid.
minutes.
Yeah,
but
good young
8
kid.
minutes when you've got 6 on the bench, of course.
Mate, but the reason that's happened for Billy Slater, and I'm just not singing his praises other than I agree with what he said. That Jeremiah Nane.
Of course, absolutely.
But the other night for the Cowboys, he had a sensational game.
I absolutely agree.
So I would pick him in front of Fino.
I thought he was sensational, Nano, coming back. Like, he's only been back a few weeks,
Yep.
played out of his skin the other day. He was the old Jeremiah Nano, flying through the air like Superman.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
That can win the
I
game
would
for
have
you.
picked him too. But you, Queensland, you don't stick.
No.
Poor old Finafuaki's been playing the house down for the Dolphins. He's been in the squad,
Mate.
and you just flick him and don't even mention that he's been dropped.
That's one way to look at it.
Message to Queensland: Finafuaki's been dropped.
Mate, if that's your left side talking,
I'm just trying to get a bit of balance in the.
Mate, what I can explain it is from the Queensland point of view.
Winning.
No. Nene was out injured. He's only just come back, so he wasn't available. He would have been the first chosen. But Queensland embraced this good young kid called Fino Fuiaki to give him the experience of that game, and he would be so grateful for that, and he'd understand that the other kid, and he was up in North Queensland too, Fino, before he came to the Dolphins, so he'd know Nene very well. So, mate, I reckon that's not about not sticking. That's more around Queenslanders realising they fit in wherever the team needs them.
Well, I agree. I would have picked Jeremiah Nanai because I thought he was outstanding as well. And
he
if
can
New
win it
South Wales think that plugging a few holes under the high ball is going to be fixed by just changing Bostock to the wing, they've got another thing coming because now there's another weapon coming in as Jeremiah Nanai.
And mate, he can score the winning try for that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He is uncanny the way he can go up for a ball
Yeah.
and actually get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Amongst other things.
And the only other change, and it's unless it's an injury, to the 20th man in the squad, which is Corey Horsburgh in for Hylam Lukey. Okay. So only really
Very
the
well
two
settled
changes.
side and a very disrupted side. So this is the settled.
Undisrupted.
No, well, this one's the disrupted side,
yes.
and this one's the settled side. All right.
Yeah,
Let's have a look at the settled side. How good is Queensland? We've covered off a bit, but let's quickly just go through. Quickly, snapshot on each. Ponga, absolutely terrific.
10 out of 10.
And the more he's involved, the better it goes.
Yep.
And if he keeps doing that, he'll be dangerous all the time because he's one of those blokes who makes everyone else look better around him. So Ponga, terrific. We mentioned Cobbo before.
Yep.
You know, he's better than career best. Toya, we mentioned. The hammer, like he glides around. He's almost like one of those stealth bombers. You don't even hear him come. You know, he's terrific. And you know, if needed, he can swap. We mentioned Fafita. Munster, mate, I remember I said in the first game, I thought he didn't clear it enough to the outsides. Well, somebody had a word to him, or he's good enough to know what works and what doesn't. He gave some great service, I thought, the other night, those two kicks when he was reading everything. And I tell you what he is, mate, and I'm interested in your opinion, he genuinely appears to be a good leader.
Yeah,
Right.
He is a leader from the front.
And that's right, through what he does, and what you can tell he's a passionate sort of guy too, so he's not sort of saying, come with me. He's doing the job to bring them. What do they say about leaders? What makes leaders is followers.
Yeah.
If they choose not to follow him, you ain't a bloody leader, mate. You might think you are,
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then Sam Walker, man of the match. Wow,
Yeah, no, he's playing really well. He's just got the full kit of tricks at the moment, hasn't he? I mean, he covers the sense, the basic stuff, just good passing game, in close, and
Kicking.
getting the ball to the right person and area, but then kicking, or his array of kicks.
And they've drawn a comparison with he and Alfie, and I tell you what, it's a pretty close comparison. And this kid's only still young. Alfie and he were, you didn't know what they were going to do.
Yep.
I call this Walker the creator. He creates stuff when other people don't even see it's there. He creates it, So I think he's terrific, and he's kicking goals, 8 from 8.
I think, one difference, I think Alfie over 15 metres was probably quicker than Sam Walker. I think
Possibly.
Alfie could just make that break against a tiring forward easier than Walker would, but Walker's just so good with the ball in his hands. He's very deceptive.
Alfie and Sam had the little dribble kicks, both of them. They
Yep.
could kick it off the
Yep.
side of the foot. And, some people try and do a short kick and it goes 12 metres out.
Yep.
These guys can dribble at 2 metres.
Yeah.
They just know what
You
they're
probably
doing.
heard the discussion that New South Wales should be targeting Walker more to make him miss a tackle. But it's easier said than
Oh,
done.
absolutely.
To do that, and partly because Walker might move around a bit, and also there'll be another forward there as well. So it's not easier said than done.
To do that, I think what you've got to do is, if the situation arises, then put in a big tackle on him. But if you're trying to chase him around to make it happen, he's got you. He's got you.
True.
So he's been fantastic. He got the man of the match, and Cobbo must have nearly got it himself. So that was great. So Flegler and Sumalawi, the two front rowers, mate. Actually, I thought Tino, and sadly his dad had passed away preceding the second. He had a really good game. So the two front rowers will do their job.
Well, they've been doing their job. We said before, I think, both forward packs have just been doing their job. They've been good without being outstanding. I don't think you're going to find too many in the forward pack. So you're going to say, just having an outstanding, brilliant, except for Harry Grant.
Grant, right? And mate, it's these guys that spark stuff. Like the dummy half is involved in every play, so he can at any time spark it. And part of his role to spark it is to take the mark, like when he did make that break, but one of the fundamental things is that what he's doing is to try and take the markers out of play. So what he'll come out of dummy half and do is hold a marker and pop the ball. That bloke then gets 10 metres instead of not holding the marker, passing too early. That bloke runs up, he gets 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So the work.
He's learnt from Cameron Smith.
Well, that's right. I mean, Cameron Smith was, I used to talk about Cameron Smith as having the, not a GPS system, but a sepia, the Cameron positioning system. But he could play in a suit coat, couldn't he? He was an amazing Cameron Smith. Nicaragua and Capewell, well, yeah, they're nothing fancy, but they'll get in there and do the job.
Nicker is probably a little bit underestimated. He's fast. He's busy. He'll make a run too. He has probably none of the back rowers have really seen edge opportunities in this series.
They're picking them as defenders these days.
And Capewell.
Yeah.
Well, I think Nicker can attack, but Capewell's had a great first game and a good second game.
And again, I mean, I don't know how old Kurt Capewell is now, but gee, he goes well. He sort of plays smart. He doesn't get bashed up, but he's effective and whatever. So, Jesus, a bloody good Queensland side. What about Max Plath, mate?
Well, hang on, we skipped Ruben Cotter. Don't underestimate. He's another player. I mean, Queensland year after year produced these players for state of origin, like Capewell, like Cotter.
Yep.
Who just churn out the meters, make the tackles, always in your face. Yep. Just non-stop work rate.
Yep.
And play their hearts out. Defend on the line. You can never crack them.
Yep. Yeah. And Trent Liero, he came on and scored that first try for Queensland, didn't he? So
I think he's been pretty good too.
He's mobile. Walsh is there as a replacement and to bring. If you're down 10 points with 10 to go, and you haven't used up your 4 reserves at that stage, Walsh is your man, isn't it? You bring him on.
Well,
So
Queensland look very, very good.
Okay, what's your prediction? Who's going to win? I won't ask you a margin. Right? I don't get into that margin.
I said before the second game, I said blind loyalty made me go for New South Wales. I didn't have a strong feeling either way.
Yep. And I said blind loyalty made me to go for Queensland.
Yeah. But now I look at the Queensland team and I find it hard to believe that they won't win because they're just such a very good team. I don't think Billy Slater will let them be in any way complacent. I can't smell any complacency around the place. So I think they'll give their best. I think New South Wales I think they have got a better team to combat.
And they'll be fired up, won't they?
Absolutely.
They'll be hurting. There's nothing worse than a hurt.
I think they'll be fired up. I think they've got a better team to combat Queensland. I don't know if they've got a better team to penetrate Queensland. There's been a fair bit of talk, after the second game from a few of the experts talking about whether New South Wales were just playing structure and that you couldn't break Queensland with structure and whether or not they had to come up with bit more flair, sort of offloads, dummy half play. As it was, New South Wales had more offloads than Queensland in the previous one. I think.
What in State of Origin 2 they had more offloads?
More offloads. Okay. I know you're a bit surprising, but they did. I just don't know that this New South Wales team can do it at Suncorp. So blind loyalty. I'm going to go for Queensland. No, not blind loyalty.
No,
my brain. The left half of my brain.
When I went and saw Struddy about doing the split jersey for you, he said, "What side do you want, the blue or the maroon on?" I said, "I don't want it near me. I don't want the blue near me." So this has been purposely constructed by Struddy's business, mate. And I couldn't believe it. When I went to see him, I thought these days they'd cut 2 jerseys down,
put them together,
and stitch. Yeah. It's all printed, mate, isn't it?
Is that right?
The whole surface. It's just you get the surface and you print it.
Right. Okay.
And he's done well with the North emblem, which is Reeves' club here. He's done again. John Rebo helped us out again with the venue out here at Clangar, and Struddy's logo as well. So
So you haven't told me who you're going for.
Well, in a word, the answer to that is very easy. Queensland, absolutely.
With conviction.
Well, I tell you what I think. it could be a very close game. Right, New South Wales could win this.
You've got to remember last game was 12-8 at half time. Not much in it.
What was it at full time?
Reasonable point.
So but what I'm getting at is, so I'm going for Queensland, as you did, but I will not underestimate the effort these guys will put in. These blokes will be hurting, and they're the ones. The game is often won on just a obsessed effort and then a bit of brilliance. So it could well be a very close game, and in that circumstance, subject to ifs, buts, and bomb, as we said, but there's so many bloody bombs these days, and you know these little kick tries. The thing about kick tries is you can't tackle them. They can run straight through the biggest defensive line you've ever seen. They can just wander through and put their hand on the ball. So, you know, you could go out there.
You might as well practice kicks that ricochet, or passes that land on the ground and how you react to them, or bombs that are allowed to bounce and how you react to it. You know,
it takes all
move
this
the ball away from wherever everyone's gathering.
bounce of the ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just make it bounce around a bit, and or the bombs. Who knows what's going to happen? So you could score 3 tries from bombs or something, and hardly ever made a line break. So New South Wales can definitely win it, but I will say, I think Queensland are the only ones who could put a big score on.
Yes.
Right? So I could see, if Queensland get in front, if they do, and I'm not saying they will, but if they do, all the froth and brimstone that you take out there to make a difference can often feel the bridge is too far, and some can drop off. Now, it might not happen. I don't expect these blokes to drop off, but I do think Queensland to win. I do think I expect it to be close. And I just hope, mate, we again don't get the rough end of the
I was
pine.
going to say, I hope nobody from either team gets sent off or sin bins. Sin bins.
No, I wouldn't. I'm pretty true to. I wouldn't mind if New South Wales player got sent off. That wouldn't worry me.
Okay, yeah.
So, thanks to John Rebo for.
Hang on, David. Just before we go, I'll
Here's trouble. Hang on. What's this?
hang on.
What's
Oh,
this?
hang on. Wait a minute. I think I got the wrong. No, I got the wrong one.
What is that? Oh, mate, get off the fence, will you? Warren, get off the fence. Now, mate, look, what I've done here today, I've done a little bit of a mental calculation of when you sort of drifted that way and drifted this way. And I think you're just still an honorary Queenslander.
I've made it through to the next
What
round.
I've done is, this is an award for Warren. This is a Queensland badge with, so that's, mate, this is your, mate, I can't even unclip it, so I'll just take that for me. Now,
Oh, little
mate,
Queensland badge.
a Queensland badge.
Thank you.
Now,
That's a Queensland Rugby League badge, isn't it?
Queensland Rugby League, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I've got, mate, is
Look.
I've got 2,
Again, I better go back the other way.
I think so, mate, yeah.
Well, I wear the badge.
Yeah. So, mate, I've got, and these don't get used very often, these cufflinks. Do you got any shirts with cufflinks anymore?
I don't think I've got any long
Okay.
sleeve shirts.
All right, well, mate, again, as another award, normally you need 2 cufflinks, but I couldn't find the other one. So again, mate, here is a Queensland cufflink.
Really?
Just show the people at home there.
There you go.
So,
very
so mate,
serious.
there's the 2 awards, and mate, I'm expecting as we do these state of origins, mate, or the Queensland base, because I think next couple of weeks we'll.
This wasn't a coupling you were given when you played for Australia in 1980, was it, David?
75.
75.
And actually, that's an interesting point, mate. Ross Strudwick, who's been terrific to do
Thank
up
you,
these
Struddy.
jerseys. Struddy and I have got an interesting thing in common. Each of us only played 1 game for Australia, and it was the same game,
Oh, right, okay.
and we won against New Zealand, but neither of us played. I was injured in that game. But Struddy and I, talk about odd couple, mate. Struddy is, he's, on another but lovely bloke, Struddy, and he was very helpful, mate. His company was so cooperative. I ended up picking up the jerseys out near, because there's a massive rugby league event carnival on at the moment, the confraternity of all.
Oh, yeah.
So the Australian independent schools, so not the state school, mate, they've got, I think, 70 odd teams. They've got 1,400 players playing this week out around Marist College. It's just absolutely booming, and that's another thing around Volandis. He's done two things. He's tried to make the rules, he's done a lot of things there, but from what I see, he tried to fix up the rules at the top to make it an entertaining product. But the work he's put in to the pathways is massive. The growth of footy, and if you use the confraternity as an example, the girls are playing heaps of, they're not half the thing, but there's so many girls playing rugby league now. And my theory on that is some people say, oh, no, girls shouldn't play it. Well, if you want to, no, it's not for everyone, but if you want to play it.
Yeah, make it available.
Exactly. So I think there's a lot happening. Like you and I did some of that elite schoolboy stuff too. That system of Alan Langer Cup and all that stuff is, now they're talking about expansion. You can't expand if you haven't got a feeding system. And they're building in, like I spoke to the lady that, unfortunately I can't remember her name, Scottish lady who is the new CEO of Papua New Guinea. And the work they're putting in to foster the game up there, I think they're going to have, the confraternity are going to do something up there as well. You won't be able to play for Papua New Guinea unless you go to school. Right. So there's a whole lot of stuff happening there to build that pathway so that this time around, Papua New Guinea, you have to import a lot of players, But in another 10 years' time, or 20 years' time, that system will build itself. It's the only, it's the national sport of Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know the work's going into those pathways.
It is. So, mate, thanks to Reeves, thanks to Struddy.
I better take this off, my head's getting hot.
I thought that was just a bit of steam, mate. Now, we are going to do a review of the third state of origin, so maybe about a week after the third one, we'll review. If Queensland, no, I'll turn it this way. If New South Wales win, I won't be here. Warren will do it himself with another one of his new. But, mate, I look forward to doing that because it's been fun to have a look at the whole thing. Now, I know we take a bit of time, quite a bit of time.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. But, mate, I'm proud to be different.
It's an 80-minute game.
We've just about made it.
We take 80 minutes.
And we didn't even have a half-time break. We're working hard in the place. But mate, what I'm saying is...
I think I'm coming off the bench next year.
But with the Sydney, I don't know, some of the commentators isn't analytical. They just talk about what you see. Well, anyone can see our job is how and why. And therefore, some people love the analysis. We've gone a long, in-depth analysis here because State of Origin warrants it. But it's all about sharing our experiences of what we see on the current game. And if that helps a few people and they enjoy it and have a bit of fun, that's good.
Well, as you say, I hope people enjoyed it. And if you're still listening to us at this point in time, you probably did.
You've got on a long walk.
Get a life.
Geez, that's odd, Warren. But that is it. That is the odd couple. We've got through our second podcast. It's been a pleasure. As you can tell, we love talking footy, and we look forward to coming back in a couple of weeks' time. And I'll tell you what's going to be special. I bumped into Ben Eichen not so long ago at the Carbine Club luncheon, and he's about to finish. He actually tells me he actually finishes on the night of the third state of origin.
Right.
I don't think he even has to go to work the next day. He's going into this other high-tech property business as another challenge. But he's agreed to be our special guest at our next podcast, which is very good of him. He'll be out of the care. Gee, he might be able to say things that he can't normally say or couldn't say, mate.
Might be off the leash.
Yeah. So thanks again for Ben Eichen to offer his time up, and he didn't need any coercing. He said, yep, no worries. So he'll join us. And also to Anthony O'Brien, again, our producer, director, manager, done a great job. He does it part-time, but it comes up pretty professionally. So well done, Anthony, and look forward to coming in next time. And yeah, we just hope it resonates. We're just talking footy, but you know, it is, you know, I'm just thinking
until you run out of energy.
No, I'm just thinking, we're a bit like an oxymoron, aren't we? You know, we're
An
we're not-
oxymoron?
Yeah, it's sort of
I've forgotten what an oxymoron is.
well, it's sort of
I thought that might be you.
the sounds of silence is an oxymoron.
Right, okay.
Because how can silence have a sound? You know, they're the classic things, right? So
It's a thing that can't be.
yeah, an odd couple. You know, I don't know. It might be an oxymoron. I'll look it up.
Yeah,
All
tell
right, pal.
everyone next time.
Good on you, mate.
All right,
See you
Dave.
next time. Love your jersey.